In the name of my ancestors. Peace forever and always, and welcome to another edition of the Reality's Temple on Earth. Of course, I'm the host of this internet ministry, known here on YouTube, Daily Motion, Vimeo, and y'all make sure that you friend me on Facebook. I'm known as the mighty Angel Snub 7, your brother, and hopefully your friend, Taalik Ibn'rad. I would like to again show my condolences and send much respect to the family of Don Cornelius. You will be greatly missed. As most of you probably have guessed, my little phrase, the mighty Angel Snub 7, that comes from Don Cornelius when he used to introduce certain groups or persons on Soul Train. The mighty OJs, the mighty Commodores. This is the mighty Jackson 5. Oh, Don, you will be missed. You will be missed, and your influence will always be among us, and you have a place in our hearts. What is so sad is that we lost one of our greatest persons on the very first day of Black History Month. And for me, in recent times, Black History Month has become rather confusing. Exactly what is Black history? What is it that Black folks are supposed to study about their history? You know, I wonder about that, because you have so many variations of what Black history is supposed to be. Some people say that Black history is beyond slavery, and it is. That it goes back to ancient Africa. Actually, where in Africa, we really don't know, but some say Egypt and some other places and whatnot. But our history goes beyond just America. But technically, that's not correct, because our ancestors did not call themselves Black. Our ancestors did not call themselves Africans. So Black is a product of a people who have been conquered, and this name was forced upon us. So Black History Month actually begins with our kidnapping. Now, we are related to those in Africa, but how can you have a history? How can we technically have a history in Africa and you've never been there? That's why we don't feel nothing for Africa. We've been cut away. We don't have a history in Africa. Although our ancestors are from that continent that was renamed Africa after that continent was conquered by the racist European Caucasians and American Caucasians, we don't have no connection. So really, Black history actually does begin right here on this soil, in this place called the United States of America, technically. For us, born descendants of slaves in America. They made us Black. So when you scream Black power and I'm a Black conscience and all like that, you continue to hold on to the mentality and the concept of race, which was solely created by your conquerors. You are not black. Our people did not care nothing about black. Why would they? Nobody cared about the color of somebody's skin except white folks. And they did that so that they could become a world power and make themselves supreme. Because when they explored the planet, everywhere they went, it was dark folks. And they could not have that. They were a brutal people, a violent people coming out of the hillsides and caves of Europe, ready to fight. But I'm getting off the subject. I'm getting off the subject. But we have a history. What history should we study? If you talk to the black Muslims, they're going to tell you about the tribe of Shabazz. 666 trillion years ago. Or the Comedics talk about ancient Egypt. Or the Moorish Science Temple talk about Spain and what, all these different things. The Hebrew Israelites talk about Israel and all that type of stuff. These are histories we believe. They don't really have actual connection for us who are descendants of slaves. It's something like a belief type thing. And that's good if you want to, when you are a people who've been taught for over 300 years that you are nothing. You're trash, you're riffraff, you're a monkey swinging in a tree. So when all these things come to us to help your self-esteem, so you mean to tell me we don't have self-esteem anymore? I want to say this to us. I am very confident and I am very proud. I don't need ancient Egypt. I don't need the tribe of Shabazz. I don't need all these things that these other black folks have come up with so they can feel some type of pride. I am proud of the accomplishments of black people in this country, the descendants of slaves in America. I'm very proud to study the history of those who were kidnapped. You not proud that our people were able to survive 300 years of pure hell called black commercial slavery? In 2012, we're not in the best condition, but we made it. Before you start bragging about ancient Egypt and the tribe of Shabazz and all these other histories that could be ours, I'm not going to argue and debate you about it. But why don't you study American history for a change? Our people. Do you know our scientists that we produce? Our doctors, our scholars, our mathematicians, scientists, our lawyers, our governors, all the things that we in an oppressive environment. That's not good enough for you? Our inventors, you probably couldn't even name none of our inventors, our scientists, doctors and lawyers, physicists. Even though we have been discriminated, murdered, raped, lynched, all kinds of things happen to us in this country. As an oppressed people in this nation, look what we have. Look where you are today. We may not be the greatest. Nobody on this planet is without flaw. But look what we just come through. I'm proud of the black, so-called black American. We are, and look at this. And we smile. We can dance. We can shout. We can shake our body down to the ground. That's how tough we are. most of our, the truth of the matter is, most of our accomplishments benefit our slave master and their children. But we're coming up out of that. Can you imagine what we can do once we come up out of this type of situation? We are survivalists. This is the type of heart that we have. I'm proud to be related to Elijah McCoy. I believe he invented the, what was that? Oh, I'm embarrassed. I forgot what the brother, Elijah McCoy, he was just on my mind. George Washington Carver. Charles Drew. Related to Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman. Fannie Lou Hamer, Martin Luther King Jr., Louis Farrakhan, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton. I'm happy to be part of that family. I'm proud to celebrate that type of history. Even Colin Powell, Condoleezza Rice. Oh yeah, well, I mean, we all dark Europeans. Well, they Uncle Tom. We all Uncle Toms. We all was born into Uncle Tomery, if that's what you want to call it. We all dark Europeans. But we're coming up out of the fire. You got to give ourselves a chance. Love yourself. Stop putting yourself down. You don't have to ride the coattails of Egyptians. You don't have to ride the coattails of some people that wasn't part of a tribe in Shabazz, or those who live in Israel, or those who were in ancient Egypt. You don't have to ride their coattails. You should be proud of who you are. That's not enough. You are going to continue to suffer. I find great pride in being part of these people, because slowly but surely we're breaking the grip. And if you allow yourself to have some pride in who you are, not because you are an Egyptian, not because you came from the tribe of Shabazz, not because you are all these things, because we are who we are. Even Elijah Muhammad said, be who you are, be yourself. You are not these people. We are the descendants of slaves. And they made it. They came through the fire. So now they did all that suffering and sacrifice so that we can make it and live today. Not so that we can make some ancient people proud that we don't know nothing about, but for them, those who suffered on this land. Is there a problem with that? Study American history. And I'm going to study with you, so we don't forget this is Black History Month. I don't like that word black. I'm beyond color. Our people, we're beyond color. I'm not going to continue to allow myself to be enslaved by somebody put me in a color category. Beyond that. Let us study Black History Month. American history. Let's start from there. Then, after we find pride in who we are ourselves, then perhaps we can even just put frosting on the cake when we talk about the tribe of Shabazz, ancient Egypt, and the Moors, and all these other wonderful sources of information that we've found. And you can be even more proud. And then once you understand your history and learn your history and be proud, then back it up with your actions. And let us stop being in a position to bring shame to this great legacy. Because it is a wonderful legacy if you really look at it. Nobody can make a claim and make an identity for yourself and get a role in this life for you, then we don't have to talk about what somebody else did. We can talk about what we did with our hands, our blood, our sweat, our tears, and our sacrifice. Thank you for listening. This is your brother Taalik Ibn'rad. This was and is the Realist Temple on Earth. In the name of my ancestors, peace forever and always, and welcome to another edition of the Realist Temple on Earth. Of course, I'm the gatekeeper of this internet ministry, known here on YouTube, Daily Motion, Vimeo, and make sure that you friend me on Facebook. But here on the internet, I am known as the mighty Angel Snub 7, your brother, and hopefully your friend, Taalik Ibn'rad. And speaking of the mighty one, I would like to send my condolence, and I feel and send great sympathy towards the family of the creator and the host of a long-running black music show called Soul Train. We lost a very valuable and great man today in the person of Don Cornelius. Don Cornelius, thank you so much for your contribution to these who are called the descendants of slaves in America and in general American society. Because of you, there would not be or the level of expectation of creativity would not exist, and the opportunities would not have existed for so many. I want to just again give my respect to the brother known as Don Cornelius, who passed this life today at the age of 75. Brother Don, rest in peace, and you will always be remembered. With that said, I would like to speak about white supremacy. I want to say this. There are those who speak truth. And when you speak truth, there's a consequence. I myself, I speak what we call real truth. And as a consequence, I have had 50 channels terminated. That should tell you something. If you are speaking a truth and no one is making any kind of move against you, then it is not that you're not speaking truth, but your truth is diluted. Your truth is you try to say things so you don't hurt people's feelings. Do you think that the person in the Bible called Jesus cared about hurting somebody's feelings? He was given an assignment to speak the truth. The prophets of God in religion were given an assignment to speak the truth. And when you speak the real truth, there are forces of evil that are against that truth that come against you. I don't want to represent watered down truth. And if you are speaking a watered down version of truth, then you should not be shocked that your results that you get is also watered down. So you have those with sincere hearts that talk about the problem. And our problem is white supremacy. But you talk about white supremacy in a watered down version so you don't hurt somebody's feelings. White supremacy in itself cannot hurt you. You can live with white supremacy and the idea or the concept cannot hurt you. However, there are people with names that are practicing day in and day out. There are minds that's conditioned to carry this out that you don't want to mention, and you're scared to point fingers. If you're not willing to point fingers, if you're not willing to say some names, then you might as well be quiet. I really don't know a lot of names, but I do know that white supremacy must equal white people, and there are white people that's in power, and there has to be some people who are carrying out the orders of these white people in power in order for white supremacy to have any kind of effect. So when they talk about white supremacy, the first example that they give you is the Ku Klux Klan, the Nazi Party, the skinheads. The Ku Klux Klan have not held any kind of influence or power in America since the late 1920s. The Ku Klux Klan and the skinheads and the Nazi Party, all these things did not exist till after the Civil War. White supremacy existed before the Civil War. White supremacy created this situation that we're in today. White supremacy built this nation. It's based on white supremacy. So we want to point our fingers, but we don't want to point our fingers at white people. But if you're going to mention white supremacy, you have no choice but to talk about white folks. White supremacy equals white people. But you want to try to water your message down so you don't get people angry. Those Caucasian people who are sincere, those who have what you call an abolitionist type mentality, you can say white people till you're blue in the face. They're not going to get upset because there are Caucasian people who know the truth, the real truth. This Reality's Temple ministry has many, many Caucasian people. They understand. If the shoe don't fit, you don't have to wear it. They want the end of white supremacy so they can gain a decent life. They are sick of the madness. But as long as you don't want to be truthful, as long as you want to try to pussyfoot around the issue, then a pussyfoot solution you're going to get. You can't just point your finger at the Bank of America, Lehman Brothers, or so-and-so and so-and-so. You have to remember the things they did was legal. This country made it legal. They did not do anything wrong as far as the law is concerned. So your complaint is with this nation. But see, you have a sick love for the nation that oppress you. You don't want to say, you want to continue to say, I'm an American. That's what oppressed you. That's what enslaved you. This nation made laws and systems to do these things to you. And then they condition the average white people to make them believe that this type of activity is right. They use their education, they use their law, and they use their religious system to condition the people, the other white folks, to believe they are superior. And so they accepted this. Not for 30 days, not for 30 years, but for over 300 years, this is the way this country ran itself or governed itself. You have to speak against the United States of America as a nation. And it is not individuals that owe anybody anything. It is this nation. Because it was this nation that made all this possible, and it was legal. Do you understand? But you want to cop out. And who was the one or the people that was in charge? It was white people. White supremacy, white supremacy means white people. Y'all want to try to dodge the issue. You can't dodge the issue when you tell the truth. And those who benefit from white supremacy, those who benefit from having white privilege, having a white advantage, they like things just the way they are. They're not going to just let that go. Especially when you don't call them out. Because I work hard. You do work hard. But at the root of your success, at the root of everything that you have, it's rooted in slavery. It's rooted in Native American genocide. It's rooted in rape and murder and deceit. I'm proud to be an American. You proud to be evil. You proud to be the child of a criminal. A citizen of a criminal nation. You want to try to make things hunky, what they call it, hunky-dory. What's that word? That's not how it works. This is a wicked nation. It needs to be rehabilitated. It needs to be changed. But you keep running around here making excuses for the United States of America and its wicked citizens who are racist. What type of result you're going to get? You have to be open and honest and tell things just the way they are. You can't be sitting around trying not to cuddle people and baby them because they'll get upset. Telling the truth always get people upset. When you bring me truth, I get upset. But the difference between me and them is that I can accept your truth and try to work and make myself better. They can't, because they benefit from lies. They benefit from deceit. They benefit from this fantasy world that they made the melting pot and everybody love each other. It don't exist. That's not a reality. Everybody equal. Everybody's not equal. You got the black community. You have the Hispanic community. You have the Chinese community. Everybody in this nation is separate, doing their own thing. We are separated, and all the other communities leech off the black community. And we are filled with self-hatred. We have to get real. We have to be honest about this thing. And when you are that, you will gain a real and honest and open solution. You will clear this problem almost overnight. But as long as you diddle-dally, as long as you ignore the fact that you have a cancer because you don't want to accept that you have cancer, then the cancer is going to just continue to eat you up alive. And it will eventually kill you. And that's what's happening right now. This nation is slowly killing itself. Somebody got to tell you you have a cancer. So maybe you will accept the cure from a doctor. And there are many doctors available if you just admit, I'm sick. Oh, that's all I wanted to say. We need to get real. We need to get real about this issue. We need to talk and open and honestly. And truth hurts, but it's better to hurt now and get it over with than keep passing this foolishness from generation to generation. This is your brother Taalik Ibn'rad. Thank you for listening. This was and is the Realist Temple on earth. Rest in peace, Don Cornelius. The mighty, mighty Don Cornelius.